an actress who was actually the first actress ever in India for whom fans built a temple. Right? I think that deserves a huge round of applause because that is the kind of status, that is the kind of icon that this lady has been. And you know, she's been in the films in public life for 40 plus years. She still is relevant. And she still continues to make an impact, not just in southern India, but her reach goes much beyond that. So truly an honor to have you with us on this stage of the Southern Rising Summit. A very warm welcome.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Ellarkum vanakkam.
So I have to ask, have you been to this temple and is it still around?
I don't know if it's still around. I have never been there because when this temple was built, I think way back in 91, I was so busy that, and I didn't know Tamil. I couldn't read or write Tamil or understand Tamil then. So, I mean, I didn't find the time to react, and by the time I understood, it sunk in me that the temple hasn't been, it was a little old news, so I didn't want to react then. And I haven't reacted to it till date.
Yeah, so easy, you know, just a little temple that was made, so I love that. You know, 40 years plus in public life, as an actress, as a politician, how do you continue to stay motivated? Because, you know, we do manage a lot as women, right? We manage our homes, we manage our children, and you are in very, very demanding industries. I mean, and politics not an industry, but very demanding space. What keeps you motivated 40 years later?
Public life, I've been in politics just for 12 years, but I was literally brought up in cinema, so I don't know anything but cinema. So whatever I earned from cinema, I put it back in cinema. I'm also a producer. My husband is a producer, director. So we don't know anything but cinema. So I think public life, yes, but I also have a very simple motto which says that if there is a will, there is a way. So you just need to find time. If you start complaining that, oh, I don't have the time, then you'll never find the time. But if you have a mindset which says, ho jayega, manage kar sakte hain. So I think anything is possible.
Where there's a will, there is a way. But it still sounds like it takes a lot of effort. So could you explain to us what your everyday life is about? Like, what is the schedule on a daily basis?
My good friend Hasni just said that I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. They know I wake up that early, my close circle of friends, because we have this WhatsApp group, what we have.
We've heard some secrets today.
No secrets, but then we have these lot of WhatsApp groups, the family group, only the school friends, only our 80s gang, and there are a couple of other friends. So it's a compulsion where we wake up in the morning and we have to send good morning message. So if you don't get the good morning message, then it's like, are you okay? That's the first reaction what we get. So they see that mine is the first message, which is around 4:20 to 4:30 is my good morning message.
Wow.
So I start very early because I like to sleep very early. Generally, people around me in my family, they say that after 10, I'm a zombie. You want me to write a will? I'll blindly do it because after 10, you ask me anything and I'll be blurred. My mind is totally blocked. I'm blurred. So I sleep early. I wake up very early. And I like to see the sun rising. I like to breathe the fresh air. So I generally go for my walks in the morning. And of course, when the girls were in school, then the responsibilities were different. But now they both have done with the college. They both are working. So then again, the routine of a mother, you wake them up, you have to send them to school. I make my morning tea for everyone at home. And bas newspaper pado, then me and my husband, when he wakes up, we have a discussion. Then he is out for his work. If I have work, then I leave for work. But generally, my day is around my work and my family. So I wait for the evening to finish and come back home. So I think like it's nothing great deal. I think 99% of the working women, I'm sure even you do the same. We don't know whether you're going to have your dinner at home or not. Lunch is definitely not at home because you're working. But your dinner, are you going to be back home for dinner? You're not too sure till you decide to come back home or you think that the work is over. So I don't know why there's so much of, but me, but I think most of the women go through it.
Well, you're just very humble, but that's of course packing in a lot in a very challenging kind of work environment. You started very, very early. I think you were 10 years old when it was your first role?
8.
8 years old. So from the age of 8 until now, you have reinvented yourself in many roles. Your roles, in fact, have diversified, right? You're a politician now as well. What role are you enjoying the most? I mean, of course, motherhood is something we all enjoy, but beyond that, you're an actress, you're part of the NCW. You're also with the BJP. So what role are you enjoying the most right now and why?
I think the best role what I like is being a human because it comes with a lot of responsibility. It's not about which party you belong to, which organization you belong to, which industry you belong to. I think what is extremely important, thank you. I think what is extremely important is you understand your purpose of being in this world. Why were you born? And if you understand that, I think, and I feel that you evolve. I mean, if people would have asked me something 10 years back, I would have said, chance, no way. But then you evolve, you grow, your thinking changes, your mind changes. You learn to adapt to these surroundings. You learn to understand things in a much more better way as you age, as you grow older. So I think it's just me who I feel that my purpose as a human, a role as a human in this world is the most fascinating. And that is a role I love the most.
Well, when you start that young in an industry like the film industry, do you look back now and say that, hey, if somebody behaved with me like this today, I wouldn't stand for it. Or, oh, I did this kind of a role back then, but hey, I wouldn't do something like that today because times have changed, moral compass has changed. So do you look back and say, acha, this is perhaps something I may not have done?
No, I think we all go through that. Like what I said just before that, I think we all grow wiser and our thinking, our mentality, everything, the capability of understanding the situation, understanding a particular role. I mean, at the age of 14, you're playing a wife and a mother to someone where you wouldn't even know you're a kid yourself at the age of 14 and you're like, okay, you're playing a mother, you're playing a wife. You do not know what that role of a mother, it comes with what kind of a responsibility. So, I think you just understand more. But there's nothing which I would say that I regret doing because everything, even things which I have done which I may not appreciate today, I think it all has been a great learning experience because if I had not done that then, I wouldn't realize that, okay, there's something to learn from what I have made a mistake. So I think then there are no regrets at all.
Do you remember saying no to someone when you were young, something that you felt uncomfortable with?
Yes, of course. I think I have always been a very strong person and I've been very clear of my yes and no's. And I have never thought twice before saying no or turning around and giving it back if I feel that you're crossing the line of decency. I have always turned around and people do vouch that I've turned around and even slapped people for trying to be a little indecent with me.
We need to know more about the slapping incident. What happened?
No. I mean, everywhere. I mean, I remember I was new in Chennai and I was walking down Anna Saleh, main road here, and my mom and my aunt were with me, and this guy just walked in. Literally, he saw my mom and aunt, and he literally walked into them, brushing them and moving aside. So I had to chase him and break his nose because you don't do that to any woman, and especially when it comes to my mother and my aunt, you don't do it. So. And like I was for a campaign in Bangalore, for an election campaign, and there somebody tried to misbehave with me. I could feel a hand going up my waist, and I caught the hand, I turned around and I slapped that guy in that rally. Just because it's a political rally, I'm not going to stay quiet if somebody is trying to misbehave with me. So there have been many incidents. There have been incidents where I've been shooting somewhere in the interiors of Tamil Nadu, somebody misbehaved with me. I've literally chased that man and hit him. So I'm known for that.
Well, I have to say in a situation like that, a lot of us just shut down, right? So I think that's why people, and especially young girls, are inspired by you. They idolize you because you take a stand. Now, the problem with that is that sometimes when you take a stand, you're alone because the world is coming at you. How have you managed those instances? Like, it was heartening to hear Suhasini ji earlier, where she said that, she stood by you. She didn't know you then, but you were a woman taking a stand. So has that happened often enough, or have there been times when you've taken a stand and said something and felt like, should I really have done that?
I've always stood up and I've always spoken my mind. Yes, I may not be politically correct. I may not speak the language what others would want to hear because now unfortunately, we tend to live in a society which is not opinionated but very judgmental.
Yeah.
And I'm not here to please anyone. So politically, non-politically, personally, I speak what I have to say. I may not be at par with my political ideologies at times. I may not, or I may go overboard at times where I go against my party lines and I speak, but then I do what I have to say. And yes, most of the times I have found myself alone, but I've never let that bother me because I don't expect others to come and stand up for me. I think you have your disappointments only when the expectations are high. So you don't do it with a thought, with an idea, okay, I'm going to say this today. Even if I have a problem tomorrow, I will have 10 other people coming and supporting me. No, you do it because this is what your mind says to do it. And this is what you think is right at that moment to do it. So you just do it. So I don't say or do things looking for a support or expecting a support. What happened in 2005, I had this huge support from Suhasini. Like she said, my very first film in Tamil, I started with her and I thought she was a teacher because she was so strict and she reminded me of my school principal. So I used to be in awe of her. And she didn't even tell me. In fact, she was at an event where she stood up and said that shame on the people of the men in the industry who don't stand up when a woman is hounded like this. And she stood up for me. And since then, we have been like, we bonded for life.
But do enough women speak up? Did you get enough support from actresses in the industry?
Not then. But I'm sure today, if there is a problem, we all will stand up because we have come out of that cocoon where we were a little more worried whether we can voice our opinion or not. We were hiding behind false walls. We were building these walls around ourselves that a problem is not ours, so let's not get involved. You still have those kind of people, yes. But like I said, I'm not even expecting a support. I have to say what I do say. I have to say, and I just keep going with it. If somebody wants to say yes, thank you very much. If you think that I'm not in the lines as what you want to hear, I said, I'm sorry, but this is my opinion. So it's as simple.
You also spoke about something which would be incredibly difficult, sexual harassment in the confines of your own home. What made you do that?
Speak about it?
Speak about it.
You know, I had spoken about this much earlier, actually. And when I was in Jaipur, I was addressing children who were between 15 to 18. And we were talking about, there were other people on the floor where they were discussing about sexual harassment. And I think this has been with me for a long time. It didn't come as a rude shock to my family, my children, or my husband. They knew about it. I have been very honest about what has happened to me. And I think I just had to address the issue to the students there, that you don't have to keep quiet, you have to speak. And as an NCW member, the first thing we tell every woman is, please speak up against any kind of assault you face, whether it's sexual, mental, emotional, physical. Please speak up is what we tell them. And I would have failed if I wouldn't have spoken up being a member myself. And it's very important in today's times. I mean, gone are the days where you think that you'll be shamed, you have a mental health problem, you have been sexually abused, or you have been through troubled times. So it's like, oh, you have to live in the society. So let's, there'll be a stigma attached to it. So let's confine to ourselves. But trust me, when I spoke about it, the kind of relief it was in me that I slept like a log after a very, very long time. My shoulders were lighter. I was feeling a little lighter because I was carrying it with me for many years now. And that's it. It's done with it. So I'm not ashamed of what I've been through. The person who was to be shamed is gone and buried, so I'm not even bothered about it.
That's such a powerful message that it's nothing that you have to be ashamed of if you've been ill-treated or harassed. It is on the person. You are the survivor. So that's a very brave and inspiring thing to say. Let's talk about Southern cinema some more before I talk about your role at the NCW. Southern cinema has been making waves at the Oscars, isn't it? Yes? I think that deserves a huge round of applause. Come on. I want to ask you what you feel has attracted the global audience towards Southern cinema, because, they're not used to the chaos of our movies or the colors or the sounds or sometimes the over-the-top portrayal of emotions. So why do you think it's so attractive to them?
We are deeply rooted. We are connected to the people. Whichever film you take, it's all about human emotions. It is never, you might feel certain emotions are over the top, but that is how we are. We South Indians love to wear our heart on our sleeves, and we are not ashamed of it. And yes, we have hero worshipping, and we love it. We all love Rajnikant, we love Kamal Hassan, we love Vijay and Ajit the way they are. So I think the hero worshipping has been there for many, many years, and we continue to do it. You know, the best thing I think about South is we have evolved, we have grown, we have accepted the northern culture or the western culture, but we have never let go our South Indian connectivity or our cultural or our heritage. We have never disconnected ourselves from that. And I have been fighting. I'm so glad to see South Indian cinema making waves internationally, because I have been fighting with every person in North cinema, telling them that when you say Indian cinema, it is about every language, especially predominantly about South, because for South Indian languages, they are the best filmmakers we have.
Yes.
And I mean, you see the kind of films which are made in Malayalam. You see the kind of history what Mr. Maniratnam gives you with Ponniyin Selvan. You see the kind of action what Mr. Kamal Hassan gives with Vikram. Or the kind of, again, sentiment what we saw very recently in Jailer, or Triple R for that matter, or Bahubali, the magnum opus. So I think we all have been the best, whether it is Rahman, or whether it's Rasul Pukuti, or Kirvani, or Ramcharan, or anybody you name it. I mean, we have been there. And I am glad that finally the North is waking up and saying when it comes to Indian cinema, South Indian cinema is way ahead of Indian cinema.
Yeah.
Technically, box office collection wise, the actors, the technicians, every which way. So I think it's great, and we stay connected is because we are rooted.
Yeah, because at one point of time, Bollywood was like, we are Bollywood and that is the South film industry. And you see...
But I don't know, I somehow don't appreciate the word Bollywood, Tollywood, Collywood. I think when you say Indian cinema, let's be inclusive. Why do we bring these barriers by saying it's Bollywood or Collywood or Tollywood? I don't understand.
I think that recognition has taken place because now the monies are flowing from Mumbai to the South.
No, I'm glad that even a Hindi film says that when a film is releasing, so it says Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam, Hindi.
Yeah.
So I'm glad about that, the South Indian languages are there.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's now move out of the film world and talk about politics. You're with the BJP now, you've been with the Congress, with the DMK as well. So you have seen how all of these parties operate in the region. In that context, how is the BJP looking to engage the voters in the upcoming general election? Some whispers saying that the Prime Minister may contest from a seat in the South to connect with the region more. So I want to understand, what is the game plan for the BJP when it comes to southern states?
I think we should not give in to the rumors or start believing whatever the WhatsApp forwards are. I think we should give time because we have 5 state elections coming up. So the concentration is more there. 2024, once this is over from January, we will start. I think the only way when we see our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has always spoken about South, especially Tamil Nadu. Tamil language being the oldest language, or whether it's about Sengol being placed in the new Parliament House, or every time quoting Thiruvalluvar or Bharatiyar. So I think he's always stayed connected. Or even when you had the Chinese premier coming, he took him to Mahabalipuram. So I think the connection what he has with Tamil Nadu, the kind of love and respect he has towards the language, I think it's for everyone to see. There are no special techniques to win the hearts of Tamil people or the South Indian people. I think every scheme which is brought in by the government of India is for every person of this country, every citizen of this country, irrespective that person has voted for the Prime Minister, for the BJP or not. Every scheme goes to them, irrespective of the caste or religion or the voters. We don't see the difference between them. We see as a nation, we need to move forward. We look at taking the nation forward with every possible new generation, the Zen next, what we see is how we can make them stronger and say that India is a country to reckon with. And today, yes, world over with G20 summit just finishing and we had the presidency of that. It was great to see people connecting and the kind of respect we see India gaining today world over is amazing.
So, we've had speakers from other parties earlier on in sessions, and they say that the South is BJP Mukt, and it's going to remain like that.
I wouldn't want to comment on that. I would say that everybody have their freedom to speak, the democracy, and I would like to allow them to say what they want to say. But I would just say that don't be in a rush. We are yet to arrive, but when we arrive, we are going to be here for longer. We are not looking at, we are here for 5 years, then it's okay. 5 years, you rule, you loot, and then you disappear. No, we are not here. We are not here to rule and loot. We are here to rule. We are here to provide with all the provisions to make every citizen of this country stronger, independent, and take them forward, financially stronger, emotionally stronger. And we have seen that even during COVID, how we all stood by each other and, we fought it, where people ridiculed as to why there was a sudden shutdown and this and that, and, everywhere there were the front page news. The opposition, unfortunately, was glorifying as to what was happening in our country. But what eventually happened is what the world couldn't do it, we were able to come out with a vaccination, and we were able to give it to 186 countries world over. So we were the first pioneers of that, of bringing out 2 vaccinations, not 1, but 2 of them, and providing relief to the world. And I didn't see any opposition literally coming up and congratulating BJP or the Prime Minister for doing that. The world did it, but the opposition didn't. So all I would like to tell the opposition is, have your freedom. It's a democracy, and we respect democracy.
I have 2 quick questions because our time is wrapping up. So whether it's political parties or commentators who've written, they say that the BJP is using things like the G20, etc., to actually ignore the key issues that the country is facing. For example, unemployment, and the fact that after the pandemic, the recovery has been very unequal. It's a K-shaped recovery. So what is your response to that? That are the real issues actually been brushed under the carpet?
That's why I said opposition is free to say whatever they want. I would appreciate if they would come up and say that today the country has the largest growing GDP growth in the world. We are at the 5th place, and we are going to overtake some other countries very soon. By 2030, we'll be 3 trillion GDP economy is what we are looking at. So what is that they're complaining about? Economy? No, we are growing. They say that there is unemployment. Please go through it and understand the kind of employments. You can't do everything overnight. 60 years we have given to a party. And if you still talk about unemployment, the party which has been ruling for 9 years, you can't blame them. You have to blame it for the party which has been ruling for 60 long years. Why is that? They were not able to provide the same kind of employment to every person of this country, every citizen of this country, every youth of this country when you were ruling for 60 years. If you couldn't do it for 60 years, how do you expect us to do damage control in just 9 years for what you have done in 60 long years? So give us some time. We are working towards it. We are not claiming that it will be done overnight. We are working towards it. Today, our students who were traveling abroad, who wanted to work in overseas, they all are coming back and they're becoming entrepreneurs. They are not working under someone. They are having a startup and they're becoming independent and entrepreneurs in their own right. I think that shows that India is on the right path and moving ahead.
Okay, final question, and to end on a lighter note, the world is a fan of you, South India is a fan of you, India is a fan of you. Who are you a fan of? And I'm not asking about political leaders, but who are you a fan of?
I grew up on Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. I still have his posters in my bedrooms. And on my wardrobe, I have a nice poster of Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. And I compensate with one poster of my husband because I don't want him to feel low. So I also have a poster of my husband. So like he looks at Amitabh Bachchan, he said, okay, I know this is for compensation, but it's okay, I can manage. But I'm a huge Kamal Hassan fan. I'm a die-hard Kamal Hassan fan, and I'm a Karthik fan.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing all the insights into your personal journey and what we can expect from the BJP in the coming general election. Thank you so much. Such a pleasure to really have you with us over here.
Thank you so much. Wonderful to be here. Thank you.